What you gonna save it for? What you really waiting for? Everybody's gonna make mistakes, but everybody's got a choice to make.
Okay, sorry, no voice. Sorry, my mistake. I did not unmute. Okay, so my name is Vinay Maste. Let me just start again. My name is Vinay Maste, Senior Health Coach with Life Shapers. And I wanted to start this morning by giving a huge gratitude to Life Shapers because Life Shapers has transformed our entire family, right from my wife to my two daughters and now my son-in-law. We are all following these principles, and it has transformed our life completely. I mean, I can talk about health, but not just health in many other areas of life. Which are kind of related with health, and the principles that we learn from Life Shapers are actually applicable in many areas of our life because some of them are really success principles. Today, yeah, thank you, Anita. Thank you so much. Can you chat in the can you type in the chat how many of you feel that your life has been impacted by Life Shapers in some way, some little positive way, type a big capital YES, if you think your life has been impacted positively. Yeah, a lot of yeses I'm getting. That's amazing. So today I'm going to talk about a very simple topic. Again, many of us are not doctors. We have some amazing doctors, and you'll be hearing this week from one of the best doctors that you can hear, and at 7:45 sessions you're going to hear from her very soon. But today I'm again bringing a layman's perspective on something called as balancing macros and micros. Now, can you tell me what are macros and what are micros? Anybody, can you type in the chat what do you think are macros? What am I talking about? Macros, what is it that you think? Let me just being medicine free has been the greatest. Yes. Nutrients, Dr. Pravalika. Carbs, protein, fats, fiber. Yes, those are the macros, by the way. Macros and micros. Nobody else? Please, can you just okay, vitamins, minerals. Yeah, okay, great. So macros and micros. Okay, so let me just give you my kind of perspective. Let me clarify what I mean by macros and micros. Macros is basically a short form for macronutrients, and obviously macros is for micronutrients. Macros are the big players. The naam hi batata hai. Macro means big. Okay, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, what is it that carbohydrates, proteins, and fats give us? What is the first thing that we get from these things? What are the first thing we get? Anything? Any ideas? Proteins, carbs, and fats also, Praveen. Fats also macros. Fiber, you can say, is macro. Water, you can say, is macro. Energy, exactly. Thank you, Shubda. That's fantastic. So we get energy. The calories that we get in our food, जो हम कैलोरी बहुत सुनते हैं, वो इन तीन चीजों से आती है: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Unfortunately, in India, before the advent of Life Shapers, little bit of an attempt, on trying to balance. And today we're going to talk about balance. Most Indians have been eating carbohydrates for energy. Okay, and I know it's okay. Carbohydrates are important, but anyway, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats give us the calories, give us the energy. The micros or the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, and what we also like to call as phytochemicals. Okay, now if you don't know what is phytochemicals, please talk to your coach and he or she will explain to you what is phytochemicals. These are plant-based chemicals and they have a very important role to play in our body. These are chemicals which have not been classified by human beings as vitamin something or mineral something, but they exist. Okay, आप जब एक orange खाते, when you eat an orange, you don't only get vitamin C, but you get a lot of other phytochemicals which together help to our body to do the various function that it's supposed to do. So those are what are micronutrients: minerals, vitamins, trace elements, trace and phytochemicals. Now, if we break down the macronutrients, as I already said, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Where do we get carbohydrates? What are the food items that we get carbs from? Any suggestions? Carbohydrates. Where do we get carbs from? Yes. Where do we get grains? Neerav Mehta says grains. Yes, very good. Anything else? Rice, roti. Yes, Hema, that's right. Chapati. Excellent. Wow. Many of you seem to have done the Life Shapers program. Yes. So carbohydrates we get from fruits, vegetables, legumes, and pulses. Now, many people, if somebody else from some other association would be doing this talk, they would put legumes, lentils into the protein sources of proteins. Okay, I put them in both proteins as well as carbs because primarily we get carbs. Grains, कोई भी अनाज लीजिए, any grain will give you 65 to 75% carbs. It doesn't matter whether you're eating a wheat roti, whether you're eating a bajra roti, doesn't make any difference. You get 65 to 75% carbs. The protein content is very low. If you take legumes, pulses, lentils, you get about 50% carbs and about 15 to 20% proteins. Okay, but these proteins are not, having all the essential amino acids, but that's not our topic for today. So proteins, okay, so carbohydrates comes from food, vegetables, fruits, pulses, grains, and these are the one of the main sources of energy. Proteins is another very, very critical source of energy, and we get them from meat, from dairy, and legumes, pulses, and lentils. So yes, we do get some proteins from there, and especially when we sprout them, we get a little bit more. And finally, the fats. What are the fats? Where do we get our fats from? Yes, everybody knows oils, ghee. We talk a lot about ghee. And in nuts, okay? Many of us think that almonds give us protein, but almonds give us more fats than proteins. So similarly, walnuts and some few other nuts. And these are essential for the insulation, the membrane of our cells. So fats play a very, very important role, and they play a very important role in hormone regulation. Now, when we talk about the achieving the proper balance of macros and micros, let us see how it works. So macros give us all the energy that is required to do various functions. Now, I again, as I said, I'm not an expert, but I heard somewhere or read somewhere that there are about 400 plus biochemical processes which happen in our body. Just me lifting my hand requires energy. Okay, this is something that is called as active. But what about your heart beating? Your heart is never stopping, right? It just keeps beating. What about your lungs? Collapsing and expanding with every breath that you take. All this requires energy. The process of digestion takes energy, requires energy. The fact that you're listening and trying to understand what I'm saying, whether you like it or not, you're trying to understand what I'm saying. The brain is consuming. The brain is one of the biggest consumers of energy, by the way. So energy levels which support muscle growth, wear and tear, the repairing of the wear and tear that happens, the metabolism, the digestive, processes, so many processes which happen inside, the creation of hormones, the usage of those hormones, all this requires energy, and therefore we need to ensure that we have the right macros, the right energy sources in our system. Now, there are many theories out there, for fat loss, which says that there's the only way to reduce weight is to go into calorie deficit. There's a lot of talk on that. But in Life Shapers, we talk more about calorie substitution rather than calorie deficit. And therefore, it's important to understand what we mean by that. Okay. Now, importance of micronutrients. Micronutrients are very, very critical because they support all these 400 biochemical processes. Many of these micronutrients act as catalysts. Some of them participate in those, this thing, and they transform themselves, and some of them just act as a catalyst. So in the absence of these micronutrients, for example, chromium, which is a mineral, in the absence of mineral, your glucose metabolism is affected. In fact, the health of the pancreas itself gets affected, is what I heard. So the more micronutrients, how do you add more macronutrients? The more colorful your plate, okay? Anybody remembers when I say colors, do you remember any particular slogan or any particular phrase from one of the leading, Life Shapers influencers? Do you remember when I say colors? Do you remember any phrase? Yes. Colors. Yes, that has become a mantra for many of us on Life Shapers, so that is colors, so you add as many colors as you can add in your daily meal plate. Okay, so they help you to absorb so you have these minerals, vitamins coming in, but the absorption also depends on certain of these micronutrients. And finally, when we talk about one of the biggest micronutrients that we are really, really scared of, is fat. And unfortunately, when my wife was trying to lose her, post-pregnancy weight, not trying to, we were forcing her to, very sorry and very embarrassed to state that, in those days, me and my mom told her not to eat ghee, and ghee was one of her favorite foods, and we stopped her from eating ghee, and after coming into Life Shapers, we realize that ghee is actually one of the things that we use. It's a tool that we use to, kind of kickstart the fat metabolism in our body. So, how do we do all this, macro and macronutrient rich meals? We have heard earlier, and we will have more sessions in the future where we talk about meal preparation. Okay, meal planning and preparation is very, very key. First of all, we need to understand what macros we need, what micros we need, and the best place to understand that is from your Life Shapers coach and from attending some of our boot camps. We have a boot camp coming up next week. You can talk to the person who's invited to here. Going through the 8-week program, I personally feel that every one of us, each one of us, should go through the 8-week program at least once, just to understand the right, whether I want to lose weight or gain weight, not lose weight, not gain weight, doesn't matter. Even if I'm the right weight, I think it's very important to go through the entire 8-week program once in our life to just understand how to balance and how to start developing new habits. Very important. Okay, so it's critical that we understand that, and planning, preparation, very, very essential to stay on track. I mean, we understand everything, we learn everything, but we forget to plan, or we forget to buy the right foods or the right ingredients for cooking our meals. Then the whole thing is wasted. It's like, okay, I know I need to do this, but I didn't prepare for it. Many people, even after going through the boot camp, they say, वो सब तो ठीक है, लेकिन breakfast के लिए क्या खाऊं? So talk to the person who's invited you, understand, and at least go through a slightly bigger program. It could be the 8 days gut health program. It could be the 8-week fat loss program, or the 8-week fat gain, or not fat gain, weight gain program, muscle gain program, whatever it is. Do some programs so that you start getting into this habit, and this habit remains with you for the rest of your life, and that is the success of basically the Life Shapers program. And finally, I would like to say that it's essential to listen to your bodies, monitor how you feel after meals, and accordingly start making some minor changes. And this may or may not be easy for many of us, but what makes it really, really easy is your access to your health coach. Life Shaper coach is always there with you to give you a personalized guidance. Okay, so to wrap up, today we have talked about the importance of balancing macros and micros for our health and well-being, as well as some practical tips for building nutrient-rich meals. There are many, many other tips. The one thing I focused on was meal preparation, and there are many other things that go along with that. But the basic starts from preparing your, planning and preparing your meals. So I encourage you to learn whatever you have learned so far, either from the boot camp or from this, plethora of 7:45 a.m. sessions that we have, from today's session. Whatever you have learned, start applying it, please. It's good to come and attend these sessions and write comments, wow, this was great, but applying it, actually doing one thing today, take one thing either from today's session or from yesterday's session or from earlier sessions or from the boot camp that you recently attended or from your 8-week program, whatever it is. Think of one thing and put on, maybe it's just adding more colors, maybe it is adding 1 spoon of ghee into your breakfast today, whatever it is. Okay, just remember to apply, because when you start applying, okay, it starts becoming a habit. The neurons will get fired in our brain only when we start applying it. So go ahead and start applying those principles. Remember to apply one thing today. And thank you for joining me and the Life Shapers team. And hopefully, we will have all our, health and our bodies better and better for a healthier tomorrow. So that is what basically I wanted to, talk about today. And tomorrow we have a very, very interesting session. We have someone, talking to us for the very, very first time, and I'm really looking forward. He has a unique style. I have heard him before. Most of you have not heard him, but he has a very, very unique style, Niranjan, and he's going to talk about, the fat loss journey. And I don't want to take away the punchline, so I will leave it as a secret for all of you to come and understand what Niranjan is going to talk. He's a very very successful architect, and he's also a very very established health coach with Life Shapers. So with that, we end today's session, and we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great day.